Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to our fifth episode of Girls Tech Talk. Here we are Tara and Sri. So this episode we are going to talk about something general, like anytime it's very frequent question like how do we prepare for an interview or how should we prepare for a next role. So I have total of 11 years of experience. I am very frequent in both the side, like as an interviewer or as an interviewee or as an interviewer. So when I take some interview or when I have to measure a candidate of a certain questions like 30 minutes or 1 hour, then the first question I ask like, what are the current project you are working on? And so I try to listen, like, how do you explain the things? So, if you are, can you explain it functionally? Can you explain it technically? So, I feel like if you are doing your job properly, or if you are good in your job and you are spending your times on that particular work, then it is expected you will be able to explain it properly. So this is my perspective on it. So many people measure in their own way, but this is one of my first priority. Are you able to explain your work? So if you are not able to explain your work, that what you are doing in day-to-day basis, and the priority, that should be your main priority. If you are not able to explain your priority work, then I will not be able to judge you properly. So that is one of my questions. So and then, like, if that candidate is explaining it properly, then how he or she is explaining, is she, if she is explaining that particular application architecture or the things that he or she is doing everyday basis, like creating some pipelines or creating some Azure services or writing some or developing something, writing some microservices. So how he or she is explaining, what are the things he or she is able to cover up. So I just try to note it down. So maybe I don't ask like many questions, but I try to hear it, like what are the things he or she wanted to say, like he or she is most passionate about. So that forms my next question. Like if I feel like, okay, this person is talking about this, so let's see, like, what are the things in depth she or he would like to explain. So that is the way I want to communicate with that particular candidate. So if things went well, then good. And sometimes I feel like, if I am interviewing for a certain role, so which may need like Azure integration services, for example logic app or Azure functions, but this person, the candidate does not have much experience on Azure, but he knows, like, have some did some little bit of research on the services, or know how can we create it, or have some sound knowledge on it, but he did not, or he or she did not hands on it, but he or she is able to explain that project or explain his current work. So even if that person does not know that technology, I feel like, there is a value in it, and I try to marks it in that way. and uh, and also saying, like, sometimes it happens, like, the interviewer, I mean the candidate knows many things, and he or she is trying to say as long of the information once at a time. So it's very hard for interviewer to evaluate that, because, I am looking for some information, maybe I am asking for the identity services, but the information, exact information I want, I'm not getting it. So I would say, like, in that scenarios, I if I am a candidate, I would expect, like, uh, prepare myself, like, if the question, what are the questions may come. I mean, well, what I wanted to say, like, giving an answer which is very to the point to that particular topic. Like sometimes it happens, like, I mean, I know, I can say, like, if in randomly, if I can ask any questions, like I feel like blank, what should be the correct answer. So if I appear for some interview, I prepare myself in that, like, questions can, for in particular, like application architect, if I prepare myself for that role, so I prepare myself, like, these are the questions can come, like these are the questions I may have to face, and in my experience, like how can I relate these questions, and which of my particular work is exactly falling to that questions. So when I try to do a communication, or maybe you can say when I when I try to learn myself for that, so it helps me to give and to the point answer. So the point is, like, prepare yourself. Like if I just go and appear for the interview, I feel like even if I know, I'm not able to explain it properly.
Right.
So yeah, that's it. Like prepare yourself, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's it. And then Tara, you can add your point of view. Like you take many interviews, and you also appear for interviews or maybe roles. So how do you prepare yourself?
Yeah, so for me also it's pretty much same. Like I also have been in both the places as an interviewer as well as a candidate. And now when I'm done with so many interviews as an interviewer, now I understand how a interviewer also feel like they have to judge you in a small window like of 30 minutes, 1 hour of your whole experience, right? Like of your 10 years experience, 9 years experience. They have to judge you in all those 30 minutes. And if you are not good in communication, then that is not going to work, right? Because he is not there with you all over this time. So he doesn't know like what work you have done, how you are performing in your current project or organization. So that's what I try. Like I try to find out my strong areas in which I have worked till now, and if that is relevant to that requirement in which I'm trying to fit into, I try to write it down. I try to explain it to myself, and I check that whether it's making any sense or not. So that is something which I always try to do, like find out the strong area and try to communicate it in such a way that it makes a story, it makes a sense that this was the requirement, I did it in this way, this was the challenges, and I try to resolve it in such and such manner so that it can create a positive impact on the person who is there to evaluation. And they can understand that, yeah, there are this real time work has been done by this candidate. And the second thing is, as an interview, also there are requirements that the candidate should be having the real experience. Like they need someone who actually has that experience. They don't have time for someone who can learn it and deliver it. So those are kind of, I can say, a really hard dependency. In that case, if someone is not having real time experience in that area, you cannot take them. But then there are again some soft requirements is like, even if they doesn't know, the candidate doesn't know, it's okay if they are showing that kind of body language or that kind of interest that they can learn it and then deliver it. So you can ask, like I usually ask them the questions in which they have actually done the work, so that I can
Yeah.
understand, like, okay, yeah, they have done this work and they have delivered in such and such manner. So if tomorrow they get something new, they can deliver that as well. So these are the kind of two kind of evaluation pattern which I have to follow. And in my own experience, my own interview experiences, I actually has like in my earlier phase of career, I had done lots of work. Like I have been to projects where I have worked for like 2 years, 3 years, and I have like a lot and lot of business knowledge as well as technical knowledge. But when I went to interview, I was not able to answer the technical questions of the
Mhm.
same thing which I'm doing for like 3 years. And then I found like I'm not good with the terms, maybe. I'm not good with explaining the answers. And then with the time, like with the time and the experience of the interviews, I found like I actually have to work upon those answers, right? Like if I'm good in some area, like if I'm good in Azure PaaS services, I actually have to show that to everyone, right? And for that, I have to prepare. Like your day-to-day work is just giving you a backbone, a backup, but again, you have to prepare for the interviews, because that is something not going to come as an mediocre person. I'll say, like we are at least if I talk about myself, I don't judge myself as a very bright person who can just grab something in a pin. So it's like I actually have to prepare myself for that. So whatever day-to-day work I'm doing, I have to note it down and then I have to explain it and I have to prepare for that. So that's what I think. Like now with time, I have taken this lesson that even if I have done some work for like 100 times, still I'll try to check the basics of that field. Like if I'm good with Azure Batch Services, still I try to learn it from Microsoft Document. I try to learn it from blogs, and then I check like, oh yeah, okay, on the basis of these theoretical point, also I have to give answers. So that is also there. As a candidate, that is something which you have to take care of. And if you are aspiring for a next role, maybe uh, so that is something again you have to work upon it. So all in all, it's mostly like apart from your day-to-day office work, you have to work on these things parallelly. So just try to give at least 30 minutes, not every day, then every alternate day, to your aspiring work, to your aspiring role, so that you can build your whole personality on that, your whole understanding, both technically as well as in the soft skill side. So yeah, that's what I'm doing and I'm trying to do. I'll say I'm not perfect or nobody is perfect. We are also kind of mediocre persons who are trying to be in this line and try to grow ourselves. And that's what we are doing on day-to-day basis, right?
Yeah. That's a great insight. Like, I really liked, like, how you said, like, we already worked in 3 years, and then when in an interview, it's completely blank. Like, after I introduce myself, like, I am Srima and I have 3 years of experience, and next question, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I know how it feels, but that is the story, I guess, for everyone. If we are not prepared, but when we prepare, like I am working on this, I am developing something. So what I am developing, how I am developing. So when that mindset, when I am developing something, I know I can do that task. But when I am explaining it to somebody, that takes a preparation. Like I
Yeah.
am doing it, so I am doing it. Even if, like in any interview, like whatever role I am doing, so read the role description, ask for your recruiter, or maybe if you are not, it's not always like I am jumping from this company to that.
Mm,
Sometimes it happens, even at this stage of my life, I see like this role, even inside that company, I feel like I can play this role, or
yeah.
I want to be in this role. Then what is that role description or job description?
Yes.
And talk to your manager, like that I see I can do this role in this manner, and I have this skill set, I have this experience, and I want to work for this role. So
Yeah.
can you suggest me, like, can you just refer me or suggest me? If you can build that communication, that's how I think we can grow for that role.
Yeah.
But overall, it's like preparation of ourselves, and then seeing like what is the job description and
Yes.
what is the role, what it is asking for.
Mm,
And one more point I would say, like, sometimes it happens like after an interview, we feel like, like we are not good, or maybe
yeah.
sometimes we feel down. It
Mm,
happened with me. Like sometimes I feel like if the interview didn't went well, so it's like an disbelief, like what I'm doing is I'm not good enough on this,
mm,
or why, or what exactly happened. Like I know this, but I was not able to explain it. So
mm.
it's just all about we are not prepared ourselves. So
Yes.
the thing is like we have to prepare. And if from a bad interview, I would not say bad interview. I mean, if we are not succeed on that particular interview, write down the points, maybe the questions, and then try to study it, like what answer you have given, and what should be an ideal answer. Do some research. You will gain a lot of knowledge that can help you in your day-to-day work, as well as if you are preparing for the next role.
Exactly.
So that's
Hmm. Yeah, don't get disheartened because right now, as an experienced person, I can say that because when I was actually junior, I used to get disheartened after unsuccessful interview, and now I understand that actually that is also a learning, that is also an
yes,
experience. Unsuccessful interview is going to give you the base of your success, right? Because you will understand, okay, yeah, these are the area which I was not able to answer or I was not able to perform. So actually that is going to give you a backup support for your next successful interview. So just try to get the lessons from that interview. There is nothing personal in the interviews, right? They try to evaluate you, and they are also trying to fill up that job description, right? So they also are like, they don't want to keep you on hold for several reasons, right? They, if you're performing good, then they will definitely take you, and if that doesn't went well, that means there are some still negative areas which you have to fill up and then come up with a perfect 10 maybe. So yeah, just try to learn with it. We are also doing the same. We are also learning on day-to-day basis and trying to perform it in our work. So yeah, just learn every day, and that will help you on your next career role. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. So, this is our last session of 2020. So, Merry Christmas and wish you Happy New Year.
Yeah, thanks everyone for being with us. Hopefully, we will grow with each other and have a very blasting new year and a successful one. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.